with me just a second. Okay. Hello, YouTube. Hello, Facebook. Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing very, very well. This is episode number 3, I believe, of Tuesday Talks with Azren. If you're new to the segment on the Facebook page, the Language Learning Nerds, or of course on YouTube as well, where this is recording, this is essentially a weekly segment every Tuesday at 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. That's a time zone we use in Calgary. And basically, I share some thoughts on a language learning related topic. The topic is always suggested by vote. There's a vote and a poll that gets posted in the Language Learning Nerds Facebook group. And based on the poll results, I make a video talking about what people voted on. And so this time around, the topic is around foreign alphabets and Chinese characters. And it seemed that the number one poll result this time around was, how the heck do you learn Chinese characters? And by extension, I'm also going to add by extension, foreign alphabets, right? Other alphabets. And I'll share some advice on the topic. So piece of advice number 1, it's boring, but it will work, is if you take literally, I kid you not, 15 minutes every day, 15 minutes every day, and you practice writing your Chinese characters, or you practice writing the foreign alphabet. That will work wonders. That will work amazingly. 15 minutes a day, sit down, do it in the morning, do it at night, do it in the afternoon. I don't care when you do it, but every day, sit down, write those characters, practice writing the foreign alphabet. Initially, let's start with foreign alphabets for a moment. Initially with foreign alphabets, I would just practice with the letters themselves. 15 minutes, just practice the letters, try and write them by memory, practice. Once you're comfortable with the letters, you might start writing some words and simple sentences, right? To practice with that. That's also going to help you with grammar and spelling and just expressing yourself in general in another language. So that's going to help you in that respect as well. But that's a good practice to follow for foreign alphabets. Practice writing 15 minutes a day. Start initially just with the letters, then move on to some words and short phrases. And eventually, the nice thing with foreign alphabets is you will figure it out reasonably quickly. You'll be able to write them. Now, Chinese characters is a little bit of a different story. You know, the difference with Chinese characters, the thing about Chinese characters is that there are so many characters that if you really want to get good at them, it needs to be something that you do regularly, if not, let's say, daily. You need to practice them daily for basically the entirety or a huge percentage of the time that you're studying Mandarin. So if you're studying Mandarin, and let's say it takes you 9 years, I'm just throwing a number out, 9 years to achieve a really fluent level. Well, for those 9 years, you're going to have to practice writing your characters, because you're always going to be learning new characters and you're going to have to learn how to write them. So it's a similar piece of advice as with foreign alphabets, where you have to sit 15 minutes a day, you have to write those characters, practice writing, practice using them in some sentences, in some words, right? You have to do that. The difference is that with foreign alphabets, you know, eventually you're not going to find the need to do much practice anymore. Eventually you're going to get pretty comfortable and you're not going to feel the need. Versus for Chinese characters, the need to practice regularly is definitely something that extends much longer than it does just for most other foreign alphabets. So that's definitely one thing that I can give as a piece of advice. On the reading side of things, so a piece of advice number 2, this is more on the reading side of things. I think it's important to try and read things. It sounds so silly, but try to read something every single day. Depending on how strong you are in the language, you know, you might not be reading books, or you might not be reading complex articles because that's just too hard and it's way above your level. But find some things that are roughly at your level and try to read them. That might literally be as simple as trying to read a single word if you're a super beginner, right? What I used to do, I still do it actually, who am I kidding? I still do it. In Gujarati, for example, is I follow different Instagram accounts, and now on Facebook as well. I follow some Facebook accounts that post things in Gujarati, written in the Gujarati script. and I follow those pages. And then essentially what I do is, I'll try, when I come across one as I'm scrolling on my phone, I will try to I'll try to read it, just read it out loud to myself. I don't always know what it says, but I try to see if I could sound it out and read what it says. So that kind of reading practice doesn't help you with writing, but it will help you with recognizing those Chinese characters or recognizing the foreign alphabet. It definitely will help you with that. And that's a really, really big thing I'd recommend as well. Another thing I'd recommend, so tip number 3 for foreign alphabets and for Chinese characters, is that, so let's start with the Chinese characters. With Chinese characters, I would highly recommend you use an app such as HelloTalk. I talk about HelloTalk all the time. HelloTalk is a great application to find other native speakers to practice with. Use an app like HelloTalk or maybe even iTalki, both, either or kind of can work here, can work quite well. And find some native speakers that want to practice with you. And then you're going to try and read the messages they send you. You're going to try and read it and figure out what they're saying. And when you don't understand how to read something, if it's a character, you'll have to copy paste it into a dictionary to see how do you read it, what does that character mean? And then you're going to try replying using pinyin or zhuyin, depending on what kind of input style you're using. If you really want to make it more challenging, instead of using a pinyin input style, do it by actually drawing the characters. That's also an input option you have for Chinese characters. That will really help you with learning those characters, being able to recognize them, pick out the right ones. It'll help you a lot. In fact, myself, in Mandarin, I'm quite strong with both traditional characters and with simplified characters, which is rare for Mandarin learners. Usually you don't find a lot of people who are well-versed in both. I personally am, because initially I learned with simplified characters. Then I went to Taiwan, so I had to learn how to use traditional characters. And literally the way I learned traditional characters was I switched my phone over to traditional and I deleted the simplified character option. So my input was only using pinyin, but only using traditional characters. And then I would see unfamiliar characters pop up because I would be typing them and be like, is that the character for Rang? Like Rang is a character in Chinese Mandarin. In simplified, it's a very simple character. In traditional, it looks super complex. I was like, is that the character? Then I'd copy it, look in a dictionary, and be like, oh, that is. And then slowly you train your eyes to recognize those characters. And nowadays, I'm quite comfortable reading traditional characters and simplified characters. For foreign alphabets, a similar logic applies. Like if possible, have a keyboard on your phone or on your computer where you can type in that language, and that's a really, really good way to practice that. Practice that as well. That'll really, really help you. I think those are some of the keys. Like it's not that complex. It's not that complicated to go learn foreign alphabets and Chinese characters. It really isn't. It's just a matter of the discipline of doing your writing practice, right? Doing that reading practice, using your phone to type things and talk to real people and use that foreign alphabet or use those Chinese characters, right? Use it. That's going to help you tremendously. And if you've got the discipline to be doing that and you have the discipline to do it regularly, you're going to improve. You just will, and you will learn. I promise you. I promise you will learn at a steady pace. So I'll finish this whole thing off with a quick story. So in Mandarin, for the first, I would say, let me actually think about this to be exact and precise, and give you all the relevant details. So initially, probably for the first year of learning Mandarin, I only focused on speaking and listening. I did no reading and writing. Then I started to work a little bit on reading because I went to China and it was really annoying not to be able to read things around me, and it was super annoying. So I started to work a little bit on reading. It was also annoying not to be able to read text messages that people sent me. It was super annoying. So I started to work on some reading as well. I still didn't work on writing. I still didn't do it. So I would read. I would read as regularly as I could. On a daily basis if possible. I would read, I would try reading characters. I do it in class, I do some for homework, like like a good amount. I go to restaurants, try and read menus. Like I would try to read things, usually not being very successful because in Mandarin there's so many characters that even to this day, if you give me a newspaper, like I still can't read a newspaper. Like I still can't do it. Couldn't even sound out half the newspaper for you. It's embarrassing, actually. I was in Taiwan and like a 10-year-old boy was showing me a newspaper project designed for grade 1 kids, 5, 6-year-olds. And I couldn't freaking read the newspaper. I was like, I can't read this. Like, I don't know what they've written. Like, this is, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm a 10-year-old's telling me, oh, that says that means that. And I was like, oh, I felt like an idiot. But regardless, like regular reading practice, I've gotten better, right? But here's the thing, I've done very minimal writing practice in Mandarin. So guess what? I'm not good at writing in Mandarin. I can physically, printing wise, I'm not very strong. But with reading, like I'm a lot better than I used to be. Like I'm pretty strong at it. Same with Gujarati. Like Gujarati reading, I get faster and faster every week. And I get more and more comfortable every week. But physically printing, I can do it because I have done enough of it. And I can do it. Unlike Mandarin characters is a lot harder for me. But still, I don't practice it very often, so I'm not very good at it. So if you don't practice it regularly, even if you don't like it, even if it's boring, you just have to do it regularly. Otherwise, you're not going to get better at it. So, okay, we'll finish this video off with a couple quick announcements. Couple quick announcements. So announcement number 1, I've announced there's a couple new classes coming up that are free, by the way, for French and Spanish learners that I think can really help a bunch of you. It's basically a series where we're focused 100% on helping you become more confident speaking in French and Spanish. So it's essentially, think of it like a conversation class that lasts for 6 weeks. Free, by the way. I want to stress that it is free. It's a conversation class that lasts for 6 weeks. But the emphasis is on helping every single person in the class to get more confident when speaking. It's not just let's just talk. We're going to identify like, why do you not feel confident? We're going to figure out what the main blocks are. We're going to work together as a group. It's a group class, as a group online, as a group to work through some of those main challenges. So if it's like a thing about nervousness, well, we're going to dive into that and help you feel. If it's just nervousness of fear of making mistakes, well, we're going to practice that to help you get over it. Or maybe it's like a lack of vocabulary. That's what causes you to be scared. Well, we're going to really narrow in on that and help you increase your vocabulary about topics that interest you over the 6 weeks, right? If it's whatever it is, we're going to pick out those topics. We're going to work on those together. And we're going to be doing a lot of conversation practice as well, obviously, because that's a big part of getting better at speaking is to practice speaking, obviously. And so if you are interested in that, again, it is free. It's just something we're doing here at the Calgary Language Nerds. So for people in the group, so in this community. So if you'd like to join those, if you just go to azrenthelanguagenerd.com, azrenthelanguagenerd.com / confidence. That's what it is. azrenthelanguagenerd.com / confidence. You'll find, maybe I'll just throw it in the comments here. So let me just put it in right now. You can click it. And it's on YouTube. Now let's put it on Facebook. Speaking French and Spanish more confidently. Confidence. There we go. There we go. I just put it on Facebook as well. I don't know why the link didn't link out. I'm not sure why that didn't happen, but I'm sure hopefully it fixes itself. Regardless, there it is. So that's announcement number 1, and then announcement number 2 is the free class. The free class schedule for the month of August has now been released. It's on my website. So for this community here, we have plenty of free classes for a variety of different languages. So you're welcome to join any of them. The teachers are super friendly. They are very good at what they do. So if you're interested in those, just go to azrenthelanguagenerd.com /drop-in, or even easier, go to azrenthelanguagenerd.com, click the very first link at the top of the screen where it says free activities and drop-in classes. You'll see everything there. So, all right, everyone, thank you for watching this. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday, fantastic rest of your week, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now. Let's wrap up this YouTube one first. So YouTube. And now let's go to Facebook.